Welcome to the SEIU FPSU Speaker Series. Florida Public Services Union is the local branch of Service Employees International Union, and we're dedicated to protecting the rights of workers on the job and in the community. My name is Javon Franks. I'm an external organizer with FPSU, and I'm your host for this edition of the Speaker Series, where we'll be highlighting our endorsed candidates, as well as a number of issues that they're working to address. Across the state, FPSU represents blue-collar and white-collar workers in municipalities, school districts, as well as colleges and universities, people who are the lifeblood of our community. Political engagement is one of the critical ways we inform and empower our members and the community. This speaker series will be highlighting SEIU endorsed candidates and recommendations on ballot amendments that you're going to see in just a few days. Election Day is Tuesday, November 3rd, less than a month away. Remember, all elections are local, so please be sure to check with your supervisor of elections for any details concerning vote by mail, early voting, and polling locations. If you have already requested your vote by mail ballot, it should already be to you. Please fill it out and return it as soon as possible. We encourage you to vote early so you can avoid lines and take advantage of Saturday and Sunday voting. And lastly, if you choose to vote on Election Day, you have to go to your polling place wherever you last registered to vote. Our guest today is Kathy Lewis, candidate for Florida Senate District 20, which covers Northeast Hillsborough County and adjoining areas in Polk and Pasco County, where she's lived for 11 years. Kathy began her career as a financial analyst and has transitioned to a community servant as a board member for organizations like the Boys and Girls Club of Tampa Bay, and an advocate with a special interest in helping families like hers who have children with special needs. Kathy, welcome to our speaker series.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
You have firsthand experience navigating Florida's social services system as you sought to get help for your daughter who has special needs. What in that experience spurred you to go from a parent caring for her own child to an advocate working for families facing the same challenges?
Yes, thank you. We have a daughter with a disability, and she's 23 now. When she was 18, once she turned 18, she qualified for certain state benefits. And accessing these, it took us 15 months to get her qualified, okay? And then accessing these benefits was just appalling and near impossible. So we applied and was told that what she needed would be reviewed. They would determine what she would get. We got a few hours of some respite care here and there, but nothing like what she needed. And our daughter needed 24-hour care. So we were on this wait list for 4 months. I had it. I wrote an email to 75 people, started with the Health and Human Services Secretary in DC, Tom Price at the time, all the way down to anyone I could think of. And I said, I'm gonna send this email every day until someone responds. It was a total of 75 emails. And I sent it at 3:30, and at 9 a.m., Dr. Price's office called me. I almost fainted.
Wow.
And then they told me to call the Administrator for Disabilities for the entire country. At 10 a.m., I called. She answered, I almost fainted again. And this is what she told me. She said, Kathy, I've already spoken to those people in Florida. Those were her words. And if you don't hear anything in 2 days, to call her back. That was a Thursday. By Tuesday, my daughter's case was fully funded and ready to go. Papers signed, everything. The benefits is another problem, but I got angry and said, this is awful, that I had to go to DC to get the people in Florida to do their jobs. And now we see the same thing with unemployment. Accessibility is a problem.
And you have the capacity that a lot of other families don't have to take the time and to understand how to navigate that system. And how do you want to be a champion for those families?
Do the same thing, fight for what we deserve to have. We're not trailblazing here. The benefits are there, the budgets are there for us to access. The problem is accessing them. And then once you qualify, they put you in a holding pattern. You just wait over there. Some people are waiting there for years. We have to stop that. And I think the way to stop it is you have to have someone in the room that is in the trenches and dealing with this daily. Apparently, we have to have that because we're not getting the results that we should have with the current way the legislature is viewing this. So someone like me who has direct experience with this, I couldn't sleep at night. I was worried about other families. What are they doing? How are they managing? They're not managing. Even right now, group homes have not been paid in 3 to 4 months. They have to evict people with disabilities because they cannot keep them because they're not getting paid. So this big long backlog. Right now, this is happening. Not the reason why I'm running. Right now, the money's there, but there's this backlog to get the money out. And why are they doing that to this segment of people, this segment of our population? That is the question. Why are they allowed to get away with this? You need somebody like me or similar to me that has direct knowledge and direct experience and who is unafraid to say so. That would be me.
Mm-hmm. And your background as a financial analyst, you also in advocating for other youth services, really helped to give you kind of a great foundation for navigating this system and understanding the unique challenges. What are some of the things that have prepared you to step into this role on day one?
Yeah, I'm from Baltimore. I grew up. Baltimore is a beautiful city, but I grew up in one of the worst parts of it, surrounded by drug use, gun violence, learned helplessness, just unwinnable at every turn. My mother was shot with a stray bullet, miraculously survived. She's 86. I had several other family members shot with stray bullets, one murdered. And we weren't criminals. We were just poor. And this situation, and so it was a horrible way to grow up. I hadn't even considered it until I ran for office last time when we had the horrible Parkland shootings. And I started thinking about my own experiences. As a child, children don't know that things are off until you're an adult and you go back and think about it. And I thought about it and I was just astonished by my own experiences because I hadn't really quantified them until the election. So, and then I worked hard, scraped and clawed my way out of the hood and got to Johns Hopkins and graduated from there. My husband's a surgeon. My daughter's a Rhodes Scholar finalist, Fulbright scholar. I changed my life. But, escaping poverty, it leaves you with a particular set of skills. It's extremely difficult to do. I know how to get things done in a caring and fearless way. I don't have a lot of fear. I don't have a fear of if someone's going to like me or if I'm not popular because I'm fighting against a particular establishment. We need that now. People are suffering. And I'm not saying our current legislators aren't working hard enough in their current capacity, but apparently we need to broaden our capacity. And we need strong people who will stand up against the status quo. It is unacceptable not to pay group homes for months.
Okay? And those group homes are really an integral part of the social safety net that families are depending on right now.
Absolutely. So I think I have a particular set of skills, having grown up in poverty, gun violence, understanding how difficult it is. You have to navigate through educating yourself, even in our public schools, all of that. And I'm in the trenches in a lot of different areas. My daughter uses medical marijuana. I have a lot of firsthand experiences, and I think that's what we need, especially after we see COVID and what COVID-19 has done physically and financially to most of our citizens in Senate District 20 and all over the state. We have to have people that are really willing to stand up and say, we can't just put business first. We have to put lives first.
And I see that putting lives first is really at the core of many of your priorities. And you speak about kind of fighting back against the poverty that is becoming so commonplace, unfortunately, in our community. Universal basic income and a $18 minimum wage are two things that are priorities for you. Some people believe that those are unsustainable or unrealistic. Others say that, these are just common sense approaches. How do you make that argument for why these are critical for helping families and helping our state?
We have been talking about a living wage forever, right? Every election it comes up. This time something is on the ballot. I am completely frustrated with the waiting, right? Frustrated with this sort of proration of how we're going to get there. This needs to happen now. Forget about what's realistic. What's realistic is that people are starving. We have, for instance, our care providers that take care of my daughter are paid around $10 an hour. No one can live off of $400 a week before taxes, just based on rent. If you just look at the rent, the place you could rent. These kinds of problems have been around forever. It is now time to seriously do something about it. In particular, because of COVID. This is the best time to do it. We see your health insurance tied to your work. You no longer have your work. You're only making $10, $11 an hour. I think the average, to rent a place inside Hillsborough County, I think you really need to make $19 an hour to be able to afford that with one job. We have countries that are paying, I don't remember exactly what country, I think it was Sweden, but I'm not sure, that are paying their McDonald's workers an equivalent of $22 an hour. And you know what a Big Mac costs there? 47 cents more. We as people aren't willing to pay 47 cents more for a Big Mac so we can pay people so they can live. We pay anyway. We pay in the ER visits. We pay in the social programs. We have to supplement. So basically a company pays someone a low wage, and then we, our taxes, supplement that company by helping them with food stamps, etc. This is outrageous. It's basically welfare to the companies. And I'm not saying companies can't make a profit, because they can. There are ways to do it. And it's just time now. I think that was the second half to that question. I'm sorry, I was going off a little bit.
No, it is a big question, but I think you really kind of hit the heart of it, that there's a cost either way. There's a cost to those who are working and living with these incredibly low wages, and there's a cost to the community when people can't afford the health care that they need, because then they're going to the ER for what should be a simple medical visit. There's a cost to the families who are not able to do the things that they need, and we as a community have to look at where can we make the biggest difference with every decision and every tax dollar that we have.
Yeah, the other part of it was the universal basic income, and that is what I would want to do within Senate District 20. That is for people living at or below the poverty level. You give them $300 to $500 a month. Just give it. No filling out 50,000 pieces of paper or coming in an office or whatever. You just give it. Studies have been shown that this works. And what happens is school performance improves for the children. Most of them return to school, and in 3 to 5 years, they are off of it. We have to start, poverty is man-made, low wages and oppression, right? It's not something that just appeared, it was created. We can also fix it, and it's time to do this, because we have been talking about this for decades.
And Senate District 20 in particular is one that's very different from what it had been in the past. For a long time, it was a Republican stronghold, and now it's a district that's changed quite a bit. Tampa has changed, and with that comes a host of new challenges. How have you seen the district that you live in change over the last 11 years?
Well, of course, it has grown tremendously with development, and some of our county commissioner candidates will talk about that and some of the things that are required and should be done better in that regard. As far as building the infrastructure for the traffic and things like that, they seem to come in and just build, and then we got this traffic and the roads stay the same size. But that's a county commissioner issue. When we ran in 2018, everyone said we were crazy, that Senate District 20 is red, red. But I didn't care about that. I was running because I was angry and I wanted to tell our story. Well, we overperformed with 46.5% against a very powerful politician that I didn't know how powerful he was. I was just running because I wanted to tell the story. No hope of winning, right? Well, we completely overperformed. Clearly, Senate District 20 is more purple. It's not red, red, red. We certainly wouldn't have gotten 46.5% if it were, with no help in 25,000, okay? So the demographics are totally different. So here we are again. Now it's an open seat, basically, because the senator resigned. And let's see what happens this time. We only been working up and running since June 1st, so we've been drinking from a fire hydrant, but hopefully we can get there this time.
And what are some of the things that you hope to bring to the district should you win the election?
COVID-19 protections. We have to have those. You know, we can't really predict, say by next summer, what this will mean, let alone from lives lost. That will be terrible. And financially, what will that look like next summer? You know, I was just at International Mall. I had to stop by there for a second. And I had never seen that parking lot so empty. I just looked at that and saw that. And I was astonished. You know, that's telling of a future that may not be so bright for a lot of people. We have to have those COVID-19 protections in place. That would be one of the first things we'd have to deal with. And then beyond that, we have the same normal problems, access to health care. We have to expand Medicaid even more than now. We have to take the money from the federal government to expand it. We have to. And we have to stop sort of looking at our social programs when there are losses or when we can't afford something. That seems to be the first place we go. Here again, I'm a person with all of this is part of my actual personal life. And I think it will be helpful to have someone like me in the room helping to make these decisions, at least pointing out their errors because they didn't have the experience firsthand. I have firsthand experience with all of these issues. So
those protections that you mentioned for COVID-19, the personal protective equipment, are something that is very close to our membership. FPSU represents and SEIU broadly represents healthcare workers. We represent school district employees, bus drivers, adjunct professors who are in classrooms, who are in schools, and have had to go back under what are once in a generation challenges. And every year, the Florida legislature makes it more difficult for unionized workers to just do the regular business of representing people in the workplace. How will you step up for union workers and make sure that the work that we're doing on a regular basis can continue?
Well, you know, I always love to see all the purple shirts out and about. Just great to see that. My dad was a firefighter, one of the first African-American firefighters in Baltimore, one of the first of 9. And of course was in a union. Unions are important. If we don't have them, then it seems to me that the worst parts of our nature thrives. A lot of us are unaware, you know, corporations and legislators are people, right? And a lot of us are unaware of our own biases and behaviors. And also we have a lot of fear. You know, and I'll give you an example, and this is answering your question. I will fight for everyone, your union, and anyone working in these types of jobs, as my daughter, here again, uses your employees. Potential members of your union fall under that class. I will fight like nobody's business because it's important for us to maintain all levels of employment at an appropriate wage, right? So I'm sorry if I may be getting off of your question. Can you tell me the question again? don't
Well,
mean
how will you step up for union
yeah.
members to continue to do
Okay.
their work?
So my father was a firefighter, and so I used to listen and watch him. Of course, that was very different in the 60s and 70s. Even with the union, he still was an African American man. That was just recently let in. So I will fight like I fight for my daughter. As I said, when I had some people calling me now saying, Kathy, I finally understand what you were saying last time you were running, when you say you don't have the ability to access the benefits and things within the state. Well, that's sort of everywhere, it appears. And as you said, if you don't have someone that really means what they say in the room, then who's going to fight for you for SEIU? Who? If they're not in there, if every time something comes up or some budget or some problem, they go to the people that they think they can go to, we got to have somebody like me in the room to stand up and fight against it. Now, we don't have the majority in this and that, but I have a belief in my ability, my own personal will. As I said, that's a skill you get when you escape poverty. I have done the impossible many, 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 many times, as all of us have, right? The impossible takes a little longer, but not much. So they're talking about this is impossible, this is unrealistic, $18 an hour is this, trying to do this and trying to do that. Enough of that. Enough of that. It is time to do it now. We are trending in a horrible direction. School shooting the last time I ran, man murdered on TV, COVID-19. What are we going to do? Keep electing the same people to make the same decisions? Here's another example. Everyone's sort of interested in our race a little bit more this time. It's a presidential election, but also it's an open seat. I had two very wealthy people come along wanting to help us. A Tampa Bay Times article came out. A reporter asked me about a video that someone made if the party was helping us. And I said, no, they weren't at the time. They've sort of come around now. The two wealthy people called me and said, well, Kathy, we don't like you talking to the reporters. We're not sure about that. And what I did was I told them, you really have to keep your money.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds crazy coming from a potential candidate or a potential politician and a candidate, but I have to stay centered in who I am. My voice is not for sale. And these are the things that politicians and our legislators have to face daily. How are you going to be willing to say no when you know you should?
Mm-hmm.
And I did. I said no, and I meant it. It's not for sale. So special interests and powerful people and all of that cannot buy my voice. Now they've come around. They're doing better now that they understand that I can't be controlled in that way by money.
Mm-hmm.
This is the kind of fighter I will be for your organization and everyone else in our district. I am unafraid of this stuff.
Well,
Okay.
Kathy, I thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us and to give us some insight into what motivates you in this race as we head towards Election Day. Would you like to say any final words?
Just that I'm delighted to be here, and I think we can do it this time. I'm hopeful. Things look good. And please vote for Kathy Lewis, State Senate District 20.
That's right. Please remember, Election Day is coming up on Tuesday, November 3rd. If you're in District 20, please support Kathy Lewis. And for all of you who are watching this video, wherever you happen to be in the state of Florida, thank you for taking some time thank you for taking some time with our speaker series.